One. Hey everyone, it's good to see you guys. I am here with the lovely Sarah Ashley Wheeler. We're really excited today. We're going to get into a live stream and a conversation on relationship to self, authentic relationship to yourself, but also what a divine union looks like out there in the world and the energy and the power that you put out into the world from a divine partnership. Sarah, I'm really excited to have this conversation with you. I've been doing the Sacred Relationship series for like 4 months, and I've gotten a little bit of everyone, but you're the first. I feel like you're the first true queen on the series, so I feel really honored to have you here.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So where do you want to start with this?
Yeah, let's just start with the relationship with ourselves first.
I love it.
First and foremost, there's this program that I see running, and for those of you that know me, for those of you that don't know me, essentially, what I love to do is I just really go in and I can see the soul blueprint. So I get to see all your spiritual gifts, and then we get to go in and turn all those up and then create a business out of it, which is really, really cool, right? And I think that a lot of people are ready to come home to themselves. They're like asking for that, right? And there's this program that I've been seeing, and I've ran this program a lot of like, I have to be in this energy of like fixing myself constantly fixing. I mean, look at the path, like look at the personal development world, right? And so when we talk about sacred relationship, I think first and foremost, it's with yourself. And I think that's the hardest one to like unravel and uncover. And part of my journey was I really wanted to know the person in the mirror more than anyone else. Like that's the journey, like being your own guru. What does that actually mean? And so, for 5 years, I dove in, I did all the mindset stuff. I did the Reiki, I did the energy healing. I did all of that. And what I found is like, wait a minute, when do I just figure out I'm not broken? Wait, is this all necessarily, do I need to go into the Akash to figure this out because I don't have this thing that I yet want to be fully manifested here? So then that means essentially something's wrong with me. And instead, there becomes the structure that's created, right? Like, I truly don't believe that success or money is conditional. It's structural, right? Like, what's your structure in your unconscious? Like, what's actually going on there? And so that's some of the big work that I've done in 2020 of just, wait a minute, you just need new structure, right? Like, how do you see yourself? What are you going to just choose to create from that, right? So that's been a really fun journey, actually, to go back and realize, wait a minute, I'm not broken. Wait, I can just go from that standpoint, then you can just go create whatever you want.
I love that. Yeah. It's so funny. I mean, I call that circle you're talking about where you're just, okay, I got to heal the next thing. Okay, I got to heal the next thing. Okay. It's like the healing trap. And it keeps so many people from actually creating what they want to create. I mean, I think you can note other side. See the logo right there? It's action is transformation. And the reason why I say action is transformation is because I think so many individuals get caught up, and I know I did for years, of thinking I got to do the inner work. Like I always got to do all this inner work, and I'm going to do X amount of inner work. And then once I hit that point, then it's like, cool, I'm good to go. I've done all the inner work. Now I can do what I want to do in the world. And it's like, no, man, you just do all of it all at once. You're always going to have to maintain your inner world. That's a part of it. But you don't have to wait to heal yourself to actually get out there and do it. You can do both. And I really think it's about finding a healthy balance between the two. Yeah,
I agree. And for a lot of years, I even put people on pedestals and all of these things, right? And you get into that even in the healing community of like, okay, how much am I actually outputting? And then I'm not receiving. And I think a lot of that dynamic is all just a mirror. And, we could talk about this all day long, but it's all just a mere reflection of within. So I truly believe that if you don't have that union within, then ultimately every relationship essentially is just here to teach us something, whether or not we want to agree with it or not, right? So what I love to do is I just like to look at the people in my reality, and I'm just like, what is this person teaching me right now that I'm not actually seeing within myself?
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, I was actually just to go off that. I was thinking earlier. I was in meditation, not really in meditation, just sitting in my I call it my king seat in the corner of my living room, and I just
like that.
yeah, I sit there and I ponder everything. Like, okay, where's my life going? What are my energies doing? What's my consciousness trying to learn? All this stuff, and I was just sitting there and I was thinking, okay. If every relationship out there in the external world is a reflection of what's happening in my consciousness, is there a way to break free from that paradigm? Or is that just inherently the connection between our inner worlds and our external worlds? Which brought me, oh no, I don't think I actually finished that conversation. I think I had to leave and come here. But so I'll bring that into play.
I was just going to ask you what you got, like what downloads did you get?
Well, maybe you can help me finish this conversation then. When you see how the game works, when you get how whatever's happening within your awareness or your consciousness and the relationship to yourself is a reflection of the relationships in the external world and vice versa, that inner and external connection. Is there a way to get out of that? Like, is there a paradigm beyond that, do you think? I don't know if there is. It's just a fun exploratory question, I think.
Yeah, I was like feeling into that, and I'm going to go meditate on that. How about that?
Cool.
Yeah, that I think about that. Like, ultimately there's different realities. There's different versions of us living all the live long day. Right? So I don't know if we're ever getting out of it, as if we're just evolving. To that next, not even next, it's just, how about higher aspect of us? Because we're not here to get out of anything. Otherwise we would be hanging out in the stars, right? We would be here on Earth, essentially.
Right. Well, and that's, I think that's a great point to bring up too, because that's what a lot of people do. I mean, I've seen it in the spiritual awakening community, the healing community. They don't want to actually fully embody into their being. And I mean, I did this for years, and I think a lot of people do who have just lived life. It's really about coming fully into your body, embracing all aspects of your human experience. And that's really, I think, hard for a lot of individuals to do. But I think that's really what it's about. Once you embrace every emotional experience that you're having, and you just fully embrace all of it, everything that happens within your awareness, whatever arises from within, whatever comes in from the outside. Like, I think that's true ownership and power and mastery over the self. I mean, like, the self is ultimately whatever's happening within our awareness or consciousness. So I don't know where this is. It's really going just.
It's great. I like it.
Either I'm digging a deeper hole for myself that I'm never going to get out of, which I'm okay with, or we're actually going somewhere really valuable.
Yeah, really accepting yourself too, right?
So here's what's really cool, and it's all coming forward now, so I'm loving it. I had one woman on, this was last week for the Sacred Relationship series, and it was she's been a therapist in New York, so she's really well known in New York City. She's been doing it for 20 years, and she shared a really good one-liner, and the one-liner was, the self doesn't occur in a vacuum. The self is a product of its connections. And so who we are is a product of who we're connecting with, which is that connection between the internal and the external world. And so when she said that, I guess now I'm drawing a connection. It's really interesting, like the evolving, if we're always changing based off of our connections to the external world, but also our connection to ourselves on the inside, like where's the authentic self in all of that? Does that make sense? I guess it's a fun question to play with.
Yeah. So the way that I see that essentially is bringing that higher self into the body. Okay. So if that's your true, most authentic version of you, And we get to just align to that, and right, essentially. And then when we anchor that into the root chakra, we are both up there and here at the exact same time, right? So it's an expression of, I just get to go be who I am in alignment with the I am that I already am. Does that make sense? In alignment with higher self. And we know this. We're not going to do anything, essentially, those of us on the path, that's really out of integrity to our soul. I mean, that, like, I know when something's like, nope, So I think it's the more that we just give ourselves permission, what is the most authentic version of me? What's she doing right now? What's he doing right now? What's he expressing out into the world? And that goes back to that self-expression, that self-expression, and also accepting that version of you. And when you're like, wait, I'm not broken. I'm good. What do I want to go create?
Right.
And then you just go out and be that. And I kind of want to touch on that subject around being airy-fairy and being all out here, when you were talking about really embodying that. And like, how do you actually know when you've hit that point? Yeah, you can accept all that is in your reality, but at the end of the day, it's interesting. And I used to struggle with this. I love to hang out with my team and my guides and all the things up there, right? And there was a form of bringing that in here, right? And being that Superman or Superwoman of your reality here, anchored in earth, right? So I noticed that the moments that I was getting disempowered was the moment that I would pop into parallel reality, was the moment that I would just pop out, right? And it was like, oh, I'm actually being triggered right now. Let me escape this. Let me not see this, because I didn't want to essentially accept it, right? And so I think that when we're talking about really anchoring into the higher self, or the I am, which is higher self, right? It's like, I don't have to feel disempowered anymore. And all that disempowerment was an escape of my reality, because I didn't want to see the shadow side, and I didn't want to see all the different aspects. I didn't want to see that person that hurt me. I didn't want to see myself in that person. And I think that is, how can you ground in and be that Superman or that Superwoman in your body, in your root chakra, instead of going out? Because I do a lot of light language and a lot of healings and all these beautiful things. And it's like, I always thought in the very beginning that I needed to go up to connect, but really you're just here. Why don't you just bring it in here? So that's something that I really used to, still on this journey, I find myself like, wow, I feel really disempowered right now. Like, a lot of people like fight, flight, freeze, run. And I've ran a lot. Right? Let's just go over here, or move, or do this, or whatever. That's been my experience of like, wow, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think like any bit of movement, like I've noticed when I look back at all the patterns of my life, anytime that I'm like, oh, gotta go, or oh, gotta move, it's an avoidance. Not all the time, but a lot of the times, if it's very reactionary and quick, it's an avoidance of something on the inner world that actually wants to come up and get the full expression of full light of consciousness, to maybe disintegrate or to integrate into the self. Yeah. Ooh, it's a lot of stuff coming down. Really cool. Really cool.
And I think, we all go through that on different levels, but it's the moment that we can look into, whoa, I feel this. Like, I was just going through this over the last few days of feeling like there's some things that I need to finish just behind the scenes in business. And I'm like, I feel so stagnant, like where I'm actually at, right? And I'm like, okay, like, let's go somewhere. Like, let's go to San Diego, or let's go to Vegas, like wherever. And I'm like, to go get, an Airbnb and finish the stuff that I know that I need to finish. And I'm like, wow, why am I feeling that way? And I don't make it wrong, because it's totally okay. Like, I totally, on one window, I could look at the window of like, wow, that would be really nice to get a change of scenery. Be really cool to just like, go experience something else, by myself or whatever. And then on the other end, I'm like, what am I actually avoiding? Just like sitting down in my current space and just doing the thing.
Right. Oh, yeah, I love that because it's like you get these, at least in my experience, I'll get like a desire to go somewhere, to move a place or whatever. And it's like feeling that desire, but not allowing the desire to run through and control your actions all the time. Like sit with whatever needs to be sat with, integrate whatever need. And then if it's still there and that desire still wants to play itself out and express, then cool. Like you can allow it. But yeah, a lot of the times it's really just something's coming up and you just need to sit with it, allow it to get the full light of consciousness that it's looking for, integrate it into the self, and then you have another gift to offer the world from the internal part of your being.
Now let's talk about that. Let's talk about, how do you know when something's completely moved through? If you actually think about that, because I'm just now like thinking about, oh, but I'd still really like to go and go get an Airbnb and finish my projects just because I want to, right? I really do believe it's like, how much resistance do I have of just doing it right here and right now in this thing? Like for me specifically, right? And how do you know when it's fully moved through? I think that when you know that something's moved through is when you don't have any resistance to the thing anymore. It just becomes neutral.
So resistance in the sense of I'm trying to avoid or, okay.
Yep.
So interesting. Can we connect this with pain in the body?
Go for it.
Okay. So if there's resistance coming up, is pain, I see pain in the body as a resistance to experiencing a certain emotion. Like it's an emotional pain that's most of the time, that's how I see physical pain. And so if we have physical pain in the body, that's a sign that there's emotional resistance to something. And then usually I found in my experience and the experience of my clients that if that, there's like 20 threads coming together. How to say this eloquently if it's possible. If all of that is coming to the surface, I'm guessing that you would know that that track or whatever that is has run itself out when there's no physical pain anymore in the body.
But what if you're not experiencing physical pain?
That's a great question.
Can you catch it before the physical pain manifests? Because that's like alert, you're not paying attention to this thing.
Right.
Isn't that interesting? It's like, that's where people like avoid. Oh, neck pain, avoid. Pain somewhere in the knee. Oh, okay, now you're really not listening. But I think that those of us kind of, I would say, more aware, how am I feeling right now? Like we're checking in throughout the day. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what to.
So I'll tell you how in my situation, how I got through that thing essentially. And what I did is I just tried the energy on. I just tried the energy on of that experience, and I just felt, what would that feel like to just go do that thing over there? Okay, great. Okay, well, let me put on the experience of just doing the thing right here. That's when I look at it.
So are you saying that you do like a visualization and feel into that potential, you can call it timeline, feel into that, whatever that is, and then see how your body reacts to that? It's beautiful. Yeah, I love it. So like,
yeah, I like that for like if I'm going to invest in something, let's just try that energy on first. Or even if like, since we're talking about, well, we'll be talking about relationship, try that energy on first. How does that actually feel within the body? Does that person expand you or does it contract you? If you go do this investment, this thing, like try the energy on, are you really expanded through it? Or does it contract you? So especially when it comes to like, well, I don't know if you're like me, but I like to move a lot. Move a lot too, right? Try that energy on. How does it feel? Am I avoiding anything if I go do this thing? That's how I navigate through.
Yeah. Yeah, I love
that.
it. I love it. Yeah, I see that. Now there is there is one question that I have around this, because I've noticed, at least in my own energy field, in my own being, and at least some of the people in my practice, when they try or when I try an energy on, I'll speak for myself first. When I try an energy on,
Mhm.
like my body or my energy system or my energy field can react differently based off of previous experience or conditioning. So it's like, how do you know the difference between what feels inherently good for your being and the direction for the future? Or is it past conditioning that's causing the energy field to contract? And it's like, how do you know the difference between when you're being triggered and like, oh, this is really good. Like, this is a trigger. I need to move here. This is fear. This is pain. Okay, this is exactly what I need to go into, as opposed to, oh, this is coming up. And no, I don't like that. That's not for me. That's not for my energy.
Mm-hmm. So I have a perfect example around relationships with this. Okay.
I'd love to hear it.
So this beautiful woman came to me. Spend a lot of time and energy. People call me like the energy queen, right? I've done like 300 sessions. So she comes to me and she's like, oh my gosh, I just met the person of my dreams. I'm so excited. Like, I tuned in, I checked with my pendulum, and this person, yes. And I go, I tuned in. Red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag.
Right.
Couldn't see it, right? So who was actually answering that question? 3 months later, I found out he's married. But Sarah, I felt the full body sensations. I felt the yes in my body when I tuned into that. My pendulum even said that it was the correct thing. And I said, sure, it was the correct thing. But what answered was your patterns and your blocks to that, right? And the path of least resistance. So was that correct for you to experience, to understand now you're coming with your patterns and your blocks? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Would you have been open if I would have said, I don't believe that this person is actually correct for you? You wouldn't have been able to receive it at that specific time. Now you are. Now let's work on the patterns and the blocks that told you to go date someone that was actually married. Let's dive into that, because now you're ready. Now you're willing, because before you weren't. Isn't that interesting?
So, Sarah, I'm curious, in your experience with your clients and your work, what exactly would you say is the best indicator as to how to know whether a person's past patterns and conditioning is controlling them, or it's their soul's guidance, like, oh yes, this is where you're going to evolve and expand, or the higher self's guidance? Brilliant question.
Well, it's really cool, because when you're able to read the energy and look into the quantum field, you're able to see, oh, okay. So if you try the energy on, am I repeating a pattern? Yes or no? Right? Is there something here that I need to learn from? And yes, all relationships, you're here to learn from them. But at the end of the day, this just tells me, okay, what percentage of their soul is actually anchored into their body? What's the soul bringing up here? And this beautiful experience is the higher self in the body. Because usually there's an energy, you'll see it, right? And I feel like you feel energy. You'll just know. Does it feel like light? Does it feel like that would actually go expand me? Or would it actually contract me? And in this case, that was that situation.
So is the experience of lightness, ease, breadth, I guess we could say, for you, is that your guidance system as to, okay, yep, like this is exactly the direction I need to head in. There's an expansiveness here. There's a lightness of being. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I've done a lot of work with like, I know the voice of my higher self, and I certainly know the voice of the ego, and I know the voice of my inner child. And so I usually spend a lot of time there because if you know who's talking, you know who's answering.
Right.
And a lot of people, I think, like for me in the very beginning of my spiritual journey, I just sat every night and I just journaled with my higher self. I wanted to know her more than anyone because I wanted her being the driver of my life, right?
Mm.
And so asking questions like, hey, how do you see this experience? Right? And asking my soul, hey, I'm really struggling with this thing. I'm really triggered. Hey, soul, hey, higher self, like, how do you actually see this experience? And you come in with a higher perspective because you're asking for it.
Mm.
And if your soul's willing and ready to show you, which is most likely if you're asking a higher aspect of you, a perspective, you're going to get the answer, whether or not you like it or not.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
So I think when we can identify like who's actually running the show and who's talking, right? So for instance, that girl, wounded inner child, that's who was showing up. Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So.
Cool. Yeah. There's like 4 or 5 different ways we could take that, but I mean, I think it's lovely. I think we'll, do you want to go into the partnership stuff?
Yeah, go for it.
What do you think is the indicator as to when a person's ready for a physical counterpart? So like, at least in my own life and in the lives of some of my clients, there's like this balancing of masculine and feminine energy that we have to do within the energy system, the Ida, the Pingala, and then there's the Sushumna energy channel in the center. How does a person know when they're ready for that partnership?
How's your relationship with yourself?
That's a great question to ask. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And in my own life, how's truly, if I'm going to be real and raw and honest, how's my relationship with myself fully? What I love to do is I love to kind of look at a scale of like 0 to 100%. How's my self-love? Let me check in.
Mm-hmm.
Am I seeing myself? Am I committing to myself? Am I honoring myself? Because usually in your outside reality, if you have a partner that's not seeing you, hearing you, whatever, or you're wanting to attract that certain energy into your reality, right? We look at all the spectrums. And a lot of times if you have someone in your reality who's maybe not honoring you, where am I not honoring myself? So union first within, right? You've got the higher self, lower self, wounded masculine, higher masculine. Like, how are you actually in union with yourself? Because you're not going to go into that relationship and it's either going to bring the stuff that you're not willing to see, which of course, right? And I think that at some soul level, you just know if you're ready or not by how your resistance is. You don't have any resistance to the thing, then I would say, okay, you're in alignment. You're ready. You're looking forward to it. Like, how is your energy? How's your self-talk? Like what's going on in that reality, right? And oftentimes, I mean, I don't know about you, but I've kind of spent a lot of time. I love being by myself.
Mm-hmm.
I love being by myself. Like, we're pretty sensitive to energy. I would say you probably are too, right? Yeah. And so it's like, okay. And also, when the partner's not here yet, there's always something else to discover. And it's not an energy of I need to go grab, right? And we can get in that all the time. But then we're like, where am I putting someone else on a pedestal? And I'm not putting myself first. Right? So what I like to do is I just journal, like on a scale of 0 to 10, or scale of 0 to 10, scale of 0 to 100, like how much am I actually putting myself first? And I'm going to know by how I feel. I'm going to know if I'm leaking energy. I'm going to know if I'm really overgiving and I'm not able to receive. And where am I avoiding? Where am I avoiding the person to come in? Or where am I ignoring it or not allowing it?
Beautiful. Yeah, I love that. I love this question and conversation between readiness and willingness. It's something that always comes up. Well, it's come up in a lot of different areas of my life, but definitely some of my clients' lives and others. They'll ask me this question. Jared, I don't feel ready. I'm like, cool. There's not a lot of things that I felt ready for in life. I think the real question is, are you willing? And I think it's important to ask ourselves if you're ready for something, whether it's ready for a relationship, whether it's ready for a move in your life or a business change, whatever it may be. I think that's an important and valid question to ask ourselves because it generates a certain level of awareness and can save us some time and some pain. But I think it's also about willingness too, because sometimes, if you wait to be ready for everything, it's like your whole life is going to pass you by, and you're going to miss out on all the good stuff.
Yeah, and looking into any windows of, is there any fear around that? And I like to say, I like to just be a person that just walks with fear. Like, fear has been in the forefront of my life for a long time, but at some level, why don't I just pick the fear up and let me just walk with it? And if I stop being afraid of, if I do this, then that, or if I stop being afraid of, I'm going to make the wrong choice, I'm going to F it up, because ultimately you can't screw it up, right? I think you're right on the willingness. I would say the allowance, like, how much you're going to allow yourself to actually fully be seen for you.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I love this. This actually great. This brings a great point up that I was thinking about this the other day. We have this concept of expansion and where we expanding from a safe space, expanding from a space of uncertainty. I talk about the 3 rings of expansion. There's like the comfort zone, the uncomfort zone, and the panic zone or trauma. If we actually go too far past our safe space or too far past the growth zone, you actually get traumatized and go back to the comfort zone, which I've totally been guilty of in probably every aspect of my life before, which is why I have so much awareness generated around it. But I think that's what's really cool about actual unionship. My sense is that when you do have a unionship in physicality, there's always a safe space to come back to. But I mean, this is the only way that I would do it, is I'd have a safe space to go to where I can share what's really going on and like what I'm actually scared about. But they hold you or anchor you into that space of like, look, you're not going to stay here. You're not going to stay in the safe space, because then you're not going to evolve. And whenever we don't evolve, naturally resentment builds up in any relationship, business or romance. But at the same time, they'll challenge you as well too. So they'll hold you in safe space, but also challenge. And it's that perfect blend of both, which is exactly what we need to do to grow and expand as human beings.
Yeah. How many relationships have we been in when the other person can't see us, or one person's on the spiritual journey and the other person's not? There's a lot of shadow within that. I've definitely gone through that, where I was afraid to let them see all of me.
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
Like, what's going on? Like, why do I feel like I can't speak my truth right now? Oh, why am I not allowing myself to be all of me right now? What judgments am I afraid of? Am I afraid that they're not going to understand all the woo or what? Right? Yeah, I've had to go through that a lot.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah, same here. Well, and also I think this is a conversation of capability as well too. Like, do they actually have the capability? I mean, I know for me, I've been in relationships, and I was just coaching a woman on this the other day. I finally had to let her know. I said, do you see that he doesn't have the capability? Like, he can't be the person that you need or want. Like, he literally doesn't have the capability. So sometimes it's not even a question of desire or willingness. The desire or willingness can even be there. Other times it's just a question of like, this person doesn't have the capability or the capacity. Yeah, the capacity to be the person that you want them to show up as in order for you to be the greatest version of yourself or to expand into who you really are. Yeah.
And then what do?
You gotta call it quits. I mean, at least that's what I would do. Some people stay in. I mean, that's never. As soon as I see the truth of anything, and I mean, like, and this is, I mean, for everyone watching, this is for everyone.
Yeah, we're not hiding anything over
right. Like if someone doesn't have the capacity to be what you need them to be, like why put off the inevitable? Like you're only, who was I talking to? I just had a conversation on this the other day. It was probably a client. I can't even remember. I talked to so many different people, but like resentment builds up in a relationship when people can't meet our needs. It's inevitable. It's inevitable. So there has to be a movement. I can remember thinking back to a relationship I had 4 years ago to a woman who I almost married. And I remember the moment that I stopped admiring and respecting and cherishing her. And I knew that was it. I was like, oh, she can't be the person that I need her to be. And I don't think I can be the person that I need to be for her. And that was when I called it quits. I was like, and I just moved my entire life across the state, like gave up a full.
I've done that.
yeah, like everything, like everything. But once I saw that, I realized like, no, I would rather, like, that's what I would say that's what love is like seeing the truth of the situation and not dragging another person through, no matter how painful it may be, through something that, like, why would you ever hold someone accountable to something that they're not even capable of? They would get frustrated and upset and angry. You would get frustrated and then resentment would build. So yeah.
So let's dive into that for a second. Because I love to look through windows, right? So if we're going to talk about the divine feminine holding space for the divine masculine, if someone doesn't necessarily have the capacity, where do I not have the capacity? Right? Because I'm reflecting that. Because also, if we understand timelines, isn't there a version of them that does have the capacity? And we are just actually attracting in our reality the version of them that doesn't have the capacity? Because it is my reality. So why am I choosing to manifest the version of them that doesn't have the capacity right now? Let me dive into that. Oh, where am I not giving myself the capacity to grow and step into the person that I know that I'm here to be? Because if it's not here right now, there's always something else to discover. And that's great. Like one of my fears is always like, I would say, well, was a fear, probably not so much anymore, probably like 50% of like, I'm afraid of outgrowing this person.
Yeah. Do they have the capacity to grow at the same pace?
But what if, as I grow, I just choose that this person gets to grow along with me? Because if we are a mirror of reflections, where am I not giving myself the space or the energy to step into where I'm called to go? And then wouldn't that be, if that partner is a true partner, wouldn't it be that we could just essentially manifest the version of them that is ready and hold that space from that point of view?
Yeah.
Interesting, huh?
It's very interesting. And I love this. I'll share a personal story and experience here with you and everyone else. I think I can be very dangerous as well too, because when I remember I did something similar like that for 6 months. I followed that line of thinking, was like, okay, I really love this girl. If I'm the creator of my reality, then I should be able to evoke the version that I want out of her, right? She felt that on some level subconsciously, and I got my balls kicked in for it.
Okay, but you attached it to the person. Because you were always going to go there the whole entire time. That's where you were called to go in your timeline, in your reality. You were searching for growth. This person couldn't meet you there, and you wanted this person, and you were growing the entire time. They felt that like you were dragging them, right? Essentially, because then essentially you got kicked for it, right? But what if we just said, if that highest version of that person can meet me where I'm going, I allow them to come into my reality and detach from the name, the person, the place, the thing. But that's where I know that I'm going.
Right.
And if it's for the highest and best good, then that person will just naturally be there. if it's meant for the highest and best good. But sometimes we create that codependency attachment. We want that person so freaking much right here, right now in our reality, that sometimes we could pull them with us.
Yeah.
But that's, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I just plague.
Yeah, no, I love it. It's wonderful. What do you think? So for the situation I was in, when I tried that. Like, I tried it, so it didn't work out. I do think people have different powers and abilities to grow at different paces and places, and tried it for 6 months, wasn't a good idea. It literally wasn't. So do you think that if someone comes into your life, they're a good mirror, and then you start outgrowing them, and then you like, hey, come on, like, hurry up, like, I love you, and I love you so much that I want you to do this with me, but I also love myself, so I need you to get going here as well too. Mm-hmm. Do you think that situation can be fixed? If you're already, I don't know if that's the right word.
How about realigned or readjusted? Yes, I do.
Realigned or readjusted. I like those words better.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do. But that's where spending a lot of time with yourself, what is the lesson right here, right now? Hey, soul. Hey, higher self. What do I need to see within this person? Am I seeing them with love and light? Or am I like, why don't you figure it out? I don't understand, right?
Right.
And instead of, okay, great, I'm going to pull back my energy, because then we could essentially put all of our thoughts, feelings, emotion on that person. What percentage of 0 to 100 is my energy actually attached to that person? Let me pull back. Let me come into who I actually am. Ask my soul, what's the lesson here? Okay, great. Put yourself first. Love yourself. You'll hear it. You'll feel what it is. Because if that person's not here right now, essentially, then there's something else to discover, right? So I'm going to go pull back my damn energy because the person can feel it. Doesn't feel good. Okay, I get it. But my life's not where I want it to be. So therefore, okay. And I'm going to go forward with no attachment to the name, the person, the place, the thing. I'm going to have a neutral, no resistance to the thing. And I'm just going to be into, I am ready and willing to receive what's coming. That's my perspective.
I like it. I don't agree with it, but
That's okay. That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
The thing is, we can get so attached. It's easy. It's so easy to get attached, and ultimately there's a version of us that thinks we're going to die if we don't have that person. Usually inner child or wounded ego, right? Same aspect. So let me go back and let's talk about who's attaching to this person that wants them here right now so badly. Because the thing is, you get to see when you're coming and you're in union with you see that version of them that could be ready.
Right.
That's the version of you that's like, let's go, come on, I know you're in there, let's go. But then who's the version of me within me that thinks I'm going to die without that person?
So the codependency.
Yeah. And what would happen if I let that go and I remove that energy cord? What would happen? Oh, well, I feel like that energy would create so much space to allow them to just do their thing. And when you pull back your energy, now your energy is not leaked. Now you're just with you. Okay, I'm going to focus on being happy. I'm going to focus on living my life the best that I know how to live it, and allow all the pieces to just realign. That's what I talked about, alignment and adjustment. Now you bring in your divine team to now do the thing. Whatever needs to be done, I know it's in my highest and best good. And you come back to you. Beautiful.
Beautiful.
You still don't agree with me? It's stuff. Got it. I can shed some a light on that perspective. You know?
Yeah. Oh, I'm always open up. I'm always open to more. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, maybe I might agree later. It might just it makes sense now. But, you know,
like, yeah, I understand what you're saying now. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Energy back from this person. Got it.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Actually, I'm not focused on the how, when, where the situation's just going to work out if it's in the best, highest good for me.
So, where do you want to take the conversation next, Sarah?
I don't know. I think we dove into a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So we've been going. We've been going here for about. Let's see. What time is it? 45 minutes. You want to cover one more topic, and then we can go into some questions, because I know I've been seeing a lot of questions up here coming up on the right side.
Why don't we just dive into the questions? I feel like that's a good segue to dive into.
Sounds good to me. So let's see what questions we got here. Guys, if you have any questions, start throwing them up there now, and we'll start going into this. Let's see, comments. Okay, so I'm going to go, I don't know who this is. It's not saying it. It's just saying Facebook user. So I say, I'm playing out this conversation with my son at the moment. He is in a crisis point. Do you know, do you want to take a guess, Sarah, as to what she's referring to? I'm not really sure what she's referring to. She's playing out this conversation with her son at the moment. That's a very deep conversation to have with your own child.
Yeah, does it? I'm on Facebook. Let me see if I can. I can't pull it up, actually.
Do you see it on there, Sarah?
Yeah,
do you see it there on the screen?
But I don't know what conversation. Yeah. We went into so many different things that I don't know exactly.
Yeah, I'm just gonna I'll just post a comment. There, she's got it. Yeah, let me.
Okay, cool.
Can you elaborate on that, Facebook random user? I'm sorry, I don't know your name. Let me go to another question in the meantime here.
I understand what you're saying now. Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up on Facebook.
I'm going to go to Jenny's question here. Let's see, 228. Oh, yeah, that was a long time ago.
That's fine. And we could go back through after and answer some questions too.
Okay, yeah, I'm going back through all the questions.
All over the place, so I don't know.
Yeah, there was so many different conversational threads. I can't even keep with all of it. Keep up with all of it. So Jenny says, "How can you tell the difference?" She said that at 228. What happened at 228? My God.
I don't know. 220. Yeah, I have no idea.
I'm gonna remember that. Jenny asked, "Are you on YouTube, Sarah?"
Oh yes, I am on YouTube. You could just search Sarah Ashley Wheeler, and I'll pop up.
Beautiful.
You have tons of healings. Yeah.
Guys, we'll give you about. Let's see. You do another minute to ask any questions, and if not, we'll just close up. Is that good with you if we don't get any questions in the next 60 seconds?
Yes, totally. Okay. They'll come through. Whoever's meant to watch will watch, right? Good topic, though. Wow.
Yeah.
We just played Ring Around the Rosie, didn't we?
Yeah, it's really cool. There's a gazillion conversational threads that I saw come down, and I was like, I can't go into all of these right now. I wish I could, but this is
we could do it. We could play again.
Definitely. All right, guys. Well, no more questions. That's all we got for this time. Sarah, what are you doing right now? I know you mentioned that you have oh, there we go. There it is.
No.
We'll take care of this real quickly.
Okay, cool.
So she says, my son is at his own level of playing out the conversation, frustrations with things breaking and having to fix the problem within means. My son is at his own level of playing out the conversation, frustration with things breaking and having to fix the problem within means. I don't know, Sarah, do you have any thoughts of that?
Okay, so the word that stands out here is the frustration. So I would dive into what's the frustrating thing outside, and kind of feel and see, like, it kind of feels like a trigger point, right? Do you get that, Jared? Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm seeing here, and I could be completely wrong on this, but what I'm seeing here is it sounds like your son is having something to do, like getting really frustrated about something not working in the external world. And so it sounds like there's probably some shame, probably some, it sounds like he needs patience with himself. It sounds like he needs some figure to teach him patience with himself so he doesn't get so frustrated with things not working out in his reality. And ironically, when we teach ourselves patience and we give ourselves that self-compassion and love that we need, what happens is our external world kind of just fixes itself. You know, for me, I grew up in, there was a lot of military conditioning that I had to work through. So I always had to be very, very like, have to have everything perfect and in alignment. And there was always like an anger and anxiety to get things right away. So really, I mean, Facebook user feels so weird saying that. Maybe just show your son some compassion. And be okay. Can you be okay with him being a complete mess and chaos? Like, can you be okay with him just freaking out, letting loose, and just giving him that space? Because I found that when you can give a person that space, they always come back to equilibrium. And really, that's all they're asking for in that moment. All crime in the world, all upset, anger, they're really just communicating and asking for compassion and acceptance of that shadow aspect of themselves that's playing out.
Yeah. And one thing that I'll just add to that is I like to do blessing balls of light. So I just imagine a beautiful, basically blasting ball of light, and I look at the problem, and also the solution, right? And I just put that into that, and then I just ask for this to be resolved in alignment with all that is, and any anger, frustration within the person, place, situation, to come in with calming energy. And I just kind of put love in there. I put any other emotions that I think would be perfect for the person. Then I send that actually to the person.
Beautiful. I love that.
Yeah. Love and light.
Yeah. Sarah, do you want to do more questions? Because obviously they're all coming now. So are you okay with doing maybe one or two more?
Yeah, let's do one more.
Okay. So I'm going to go to Doretta. I see you. I'm sorry. I have conversations with you every week, so I'll answer these conversations in our next session. I'm going to go to Shareful here. Shareful says, "Hi, Sarah. I love what you said. If my boyfriend shows self-centeredness, would you look at your self-centeredness and expand your energy to see if this dynamic releases?" Great question.
Yeah. So I would just tune in, essentially, or journal, like, where am I being self-centered in my reality right now? And you'll get it. You'll know, right? And then also, I don't know how much connection you do, with your soul or your guidance team or anything. I just say, hey, how can I see this situation from a different window? Right? Instead of projecting like, oh my gosh, he doesn't see me, he's being self-centered, like all of that stuff, being like, okay, pull your energy back and just come in with a different perspective. What's going on in his reality right now? And that just comes in from, how can I look at this from just a different aspect other than my patterns and my blocks, looking at someone as if they're doing something to me. Because he's not intentionally doing that to you. There's something in his reality that he's maybe maneuvering through or going through, right? To where it's just showing up to you as he doesn't care about you. He's not seeing you, whatever, right?
Beautiful. Yeah. I'm going to add to that, if you don't mind. You can also just ask the person to show up how you'd like for them to show up as well, too. Don't be afraid to use your voice to create people how you want them. I know this sounds really narcissistic when I say it like this, but don't be afraid to just speak up for what you really need and how you want a person to show up in your life. It can be that simple as well, too.
And don't be mad if they can't.
Beautiful.
Be okay with the outcome. If you're going to have a conversation, just be okay.
Yeah.
with whatever arises, right?
Beautiful.
Yay!
Cool.
That's fun.
Was fun. Everyone, that's all we got for this time. Sarah, I know, Dorita, I see your questions. Everyone else who has questions, don't worry. I'll be going live again sometime very soon, I think Sunday or Monday. So be looking out for that. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions, other questions that you guys have. If you have questions for Sarah, Sarah, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook, Sarah Ashley Wheeler. Send me a message, whatever. You can find me on Jared's Facebook, and you can message me there. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I do have a retreat up in your area coming up.
Yeah. What are you doing? You're coming down about an hour and a half south of where I'm at. What are you doing?
Yeah. So it's going to be a Divine Feminine retreat and Colorado Springs in August. So that's going to be super fun. And then we're going to Gardens of the Gods, which you said was really cool experience to merge the masculine with the feminine, which is going to be really, really cool. So
beautiful. Beautiful. Guys, if you want to check that out, feel free to check out the links. I believe I put them in the description box below. Other than that, that's all we got. Thanks so much for joining Sarah and I. We really appreciate you. I wish you a wonderful week. Sarah, any last words that you want to share with your community as well as my community?
Yeah, just sending you all love and light. Thanks for tuning in. You know, I'm sure that you guys got some ahas in this conversation. Otherwise, you wouldn't have tuned in. So thank you for that.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thanks so much for joining, everyone. We'll see you soon. Bye for now.
Bye.